So let's put it all on the table. Hi, it's Jess. And today's episode is called Mirror on Mirror or Mom. So I chose this title because I thought it was perfect because I'm going to be talking about my mom in this episode. And what it basically means, I have the definition here. It's a powerful title, and it suggests deep introspection reflecting on past traumas and the layered complexities of facing one's own experiences, especially in relation to your mother's impact on your life. It's a title that hints the idea of seeing yourself through different lenses, possibly your own and your mother's, and exploring how those reflections have shaped who you are today. Thank you, Gerke. Okay, so this topic is I would say is one of the most hardest topics to talk about because I feel like it's something that really did shape my life. So it's a conversation that I wanted to, or it's not a conversation. It's something that I really wanted to talk about as my first real episode because the relationship I had with my mom was a very difficult one growing up. I think to this day now, it's still not the best. We fight a lot. I can admit that she is the best grandma to my kids. Why am I going to start crying already? I know my mom is doing her best, and I say kudos to that because I really appreciate how well she treats my kids and how much help she's given me so I could go to school and work and stuff. So I really appreciate my mom for that. But I feel there's so much more inside that I haven't really expressed and haven't really said because it's hard to go back on exactly what happened. So let me start it off. When I was 10 years old, when I was 10 years old, my mom went on a trip. I believe it was Montreal. And that same time she was coming back, I received a call, and it was from a number I didn't recognize. I remember I picked it up, and the person was just like, "Hey, I just want to know if your mom got home safe." And I'm like, "Who the heck is this? Like, who the heck is calling the phone?" I'm only 10, but whatever. And I was so confused. And then I looked at my dad and I said, "Oh, it's someone asking if Ma got home." And he's like, "What?" He picks up the phone, and I don't remember if it was a female or a male, just because that day was just one of the most hardest days of my childhood. That my dad just started yelling at me, and he got so mad at me because he thought I knew that of what my mom was doing and where she was. I didn't. I completely did not know. I'm a 10-year-old kid. What am I supposed to know? So that same day we got home, my mom was packing her things and our things, because there was 5 of us, 5 siblings. And she was packing all her stuff, and she's just saying, I just remember my parents arguing and yelling, and then my grandma showing up, and then the cops came. And I was like, what is going on? So I remember just freaking out and crying in my room, oh my gosh, what is going on? So what had happened is that my mom accused my dad of abuse, and the police came and arrested my dad. And from there, we had to go and stay with my grandma. And that's when kind of life really started. So we moved into our own place. It wasn't the best place. The place was infested with cockroaches. It was it was a horrible place. It was just a really bad place, but it's what we had to do because we weren't living with my dad anymore. So all of this happened 5 days before my 11th birthday. And I remember that because my mom bought me tickets to go see Avril Lavigne, and I was so excited. And it was on the same day as my birthday. And I was like, heck yeah, I'm going to go see Avril Lavigne, first concert ever. But I didn't really get to enjoy that because I was just thinking about my family and everything that was going on and what was going to happen next. Because I thought my family was okay. There was nothing that really implemented that there was any problems in my family's life. And especially with my parents, I thought everything was okay. They didn't seem to fight as much as I thought they would. My dad was actually like what it seemed to me, he was treating her good, and same with my mom. But from what I've found out, it was just that my mom was talking to other people online, and my dad was very controlling of what she did. And I don't blame, like, I can't say I don't blame them. I just know that there was a huge age gap, and from kind of coming from Hispanic households, a lot of the times men are very dominant. So I could see where my dad got that from, and he's very old fashioned. But moving forward from that, living with my mom at that time wasn't the best thing. I just didn't like it. And I was just sad because I had such a good life with my friends at the school I was at. So I asked my dad if I could stay with him, and I did. It just for like maybe like a week and a half, but then he sent me over back with my mom, and he said, "You'll understand later." I understand now why my dad told me to go or forced me to go live with my mom. And that was because my mom was struggling. And before we never really highlighted how much your mental health could get affected. And it wasn't like something that we talked about a couple years ago. And I guess like my mom really needed support. And she was young because my mom had me at 15 and my other siblings like before she was like, I believe 23. So she was really, really young. I think you guys could hear me breathing really loud, and I think it's because I'm starting to get anxiety. Yeah, I'm really nervous. Like, I'm not nervous talking about this because I do talk about this a couple. Like, sometimes I talk about this to people I'm really close to, but my anxiety is starting to like flare up a little bit. So because it was a hard childhood, and like I'm telling this story as from like my perspective because I don't want my siblings to think that I'm talking bad about my mom, or I don't want my family or friends to think that I'm talking bad about my mom, because I'm not talking about bad about my mom. I'm just talking about what I experienced with her when I was a kid. And I don't know why I'm stalling with talking about it, because I think it's just hard to reflect on what happened. That's the point of this podcast, is that I just want to talk and open up, because sometimes it's just hard to speak about the truths and what I've learned and what I've seen and what I've gone through, because I don't want to be judged, or I don't want people to have this perception that I'm a bad person or my mom's a bad person or people in my life are bad people, because nobody's a bad person. Everyone goes through their own things. It's just that we have to experience things differently. And sometimes the challenges we face is what we need to push us forward in life. Okay, so while we were living with my mom developed a drinking problem. With that drinking problem, my mom, like, when she drinks, like, she could act kind of stupid, where she does kind of embarrassing things. She says things that she doesn't mean. And a lot of the times she did say things to me. And like one of the hardest things that I ever heard her say to me was, I should have had an abortion with you. I should have had that abortion. And she kept telling me that. And it hurt because like I was trying so hard to help her take care of my brothers and sisters and be there. And I didn't accept the lifestyle she was going through. But like I understand now why, because I'm currently going through a divorce. And I know how hard it could be, especially when you're a mom. When you're a mom, it's hard because you really want to see your kids happy and you don't want your kids to grow up in a broken home. So like I understand my mom now. My mom scared me so many times with trying to take her life. And just being very yeah, I get really emotional when I talk about being a mom. I think that's my biggest weakness. Um, because I know the struggle my mom went through with her mom. Like my grandma has a drinking problem as well. And like it continues on and on and on and on. So I understand. I think I don't know what my mom had going on in her head when she was going through all of this, but I know she was hurt. I know she was sad because what she knew was gone. And it's what she knew as like, a family, her husband, and everything she's known for a very long time. Because like I said, my mom and my dad got together when they were young. My mom was 15, or yeah, I think 15, yeah, 15, 14, around that time. When my mom started having like the problem with alcohol, she changed completely. Like I didn't even recognize who my mom was anymore. And I hated her. I hated who she became. She was just like someone that I couldn't stand her. she was going out to clubs and partying, and then she started to bring a guy over. And um he was just bad for her. Like, even now when I see him, like, I say, "Hey, what's up?" But like, I know he's not doing well with his life. And it was just like everything that she did was like, what she did is that she revolved her life around him. And like it was always about him until like he started hurting her, and he actually hurt her, and he used to take advantage of her. And he was just a horrible guy. And no matter what anyone said about him, my mom always protected him. And I hated that. What was the worst is that we couldn't even afford to pay rent. And that was because my mom was using all our child support money that my dad would give us, and like that child tax benefit, on alcohol and partying and stuff. And it was just like we wouldn't have things in our house. And just imagine 5 kids with nothing. Like, finding out what we could eat that night or whatever it was. And my mom is going to deny it, because my mom, I think, like, she blocks out that part of her life and doesn't want to admit it. But I was there. I experienced that. I saw that. So my mom was like focused on him, and I hated the woman she was becoming because I couldn't even confide in her. The thing is, like, we would get evicted. Well, we got evicted once, actually twice. It was twice. And I think she didn't really care. Like, she would say she cared, but at that time she really didn't care what she was doing with her life. I think she was just ready to party, ready to like live her life and whatever. My mom's drinking problem got worse as like time went on. That like, I don't even remember seeing her as much. Like, she just like leave, come back, and she was drunk. Or she would just drink with her boyfriend, fiance, whatever you want to call him. And I remember one night I actually had enough money to buy my own cell phone. So I was so proud. I was like, wow, I got my own phone, this and that. And she came home drunk, and she's just like, give me your phone. I need to call my boyfriend. And I said, no, like, I only have a certain amount of minutes. I can't use that. And then she's like, give me your phone. Anxiety's building up again. So I gave, like, I didn't give her my phone. She grabbed it from me and she broke it in half. And I was like, why would you do that? I just got that today. She's just like, if I don't get to talk to him, then you don't get to talk to nobody. And I'm like, you really are starting to piss me off. Like, you need to stop. Like, you need to stop. Like, you have a problem. You need help. And she's like, I don't have a problem. The problem, like, my problem is you. And I'm like, I'm not the problem. I know I'm not the problem. And I was already so mad. I think, like, I had so much anger built up inside me from everything that happened, that I feel like that night was the night I let out my true emotions. So just like, I don't know, just imagine the maddest you've ever been, like the angriest you've ever been, and you explode. So I chase after my mom back into her room, and then she's just like yelling at me, and we're cussing at each other. And then I told her, I'm like, you were just so stupid. I was just calling her names and everything. So then my mom grabs me and she pushes me, and then I decided to push her back. And then me and my mom got into a physical altercation. Like, we actually were punching each other in the face. My mom had me against the wall, choking me. And like, it was just bad. It was like horrible moment. We just, I don't know. It just got so bad that I remember just blacking out, just hitting my mom, and seeing my brothers and sisters crying on the side, like, what the heck is going on? And I'm like, I'm sorry. And then I got so mad. I'm like, I can't be here right now. So I grabbed my stuff, and then I left, and I went to go stay with my grandpa for a couple days. I've never heard my mom say sorry for that. I think my mom just moved forward and said, whatever, it happened, like, let it go. Those were kind of the altercations me and my mom would get into. I think that was the only one that was like kind of physical, but we would get into verbal altercations all the time. My mom, I don't know, my mom is really good at making herself look like she's like a sweetheart and whatever. And maybe she is. Maybe I'm just like, maybe because I have all this resent inside of me that I don't see it. and like people love her and whatever. But my mom really did fuck me up a little bit, a little bit too much actually. And every like her drinking just got worse, like I said. And then it got to the point where she left us again. My mom abandoned us. And this time she was gone for a really long time. That when my dad was supposed to come and drop us off back to her house, she was nowhere to be found. There was an eviction letter on the door. And it was kind of like, where the hell did my mom go? And then we found out she went to, I think it was Miami, and basically gave all her rights to my dad. That was kind of like a hard transition because we're just like, where did our mom go? But like, we kind of knew like this is how she was good, how she was and whatever. And she was just so focused on the guys. And then I think like during my teenage years, she was there, but not really there. Like she still went through all that stuff, and we were allowed visitations once in a while. And I just always said like, I don't want to see you. Like I didn't want to see my mom, but my dad said it was better that I was there just in case anything were to happen with my brothers and sisters. I just remember it always had to be, there always had to be someone with us, like either my grandma, my uncles, my aunt, anybody. It had to be someone like an adult with us because they couldn't trust how she was. I every time I would try to build that relationship with my mom, like when I was younger, it was just, I felt like I was never good enough for her. Like, I felt like I was a mistake. And I never really felt that love during that time from her. And it was just really hard because, you know, you're a woman, you're growing up, and you really want your support from your mom. You want her to be there to give you advice about certain female things. But I didn't get that. And like, I don't want to badmouth anybody. Like I said, like my dad found a new partner and she was there, but she wasn't my mom. Like she wasn't who I wanted there. And maybe I had too much pride admitting it as a kid or as a teenager that like I needed my mom, but I really did. And I think that was my biggest regret in life, was fixing the relationship with her, because I think it would have helped me out a lot more. But, you know, things happen for a reason. My mom ended up being very like, kind of like she liked the attention of guys or men, whatever. And I hated that that was her focus. Like my mom, I feel like she focuses too much of what men think about her, and that she would only feel good about herself, about how these guys complimented her and all this stupid shit. But I feel like my mom, to what the fuck? I admit my mom is beautiful. She now she has like a kind heart. She's a great woman, but she has her attitude. And like, it's funny because everyone says me and her like copy and paste and we look the exact same. And I always say, nah, like don't say that because like I don't want to look like my mom. But like, even though my mom wasn't the best mom during that period of my life, she was the best mom. She was the best mom growing up. And like, she always put us first. I just remember how much she cared, and that she never let us come home to no food cooked, never come home to a dirty house or whatever. Like my mom, she was great. But like I said, I understand now why she did the things she did. And she rebelled and just did, like, she was young. She never got to experience her youth because she had kids so young. And then having your heart broken by by the man you thought you were in love with and were gonna spend your rest of your life with, it's hard. It's really hard. So like, I don't know if my mom's gonna listen to this, but like, I would tell her I love her and that I understand what she's going through now, and that and tell her this. I already told her this, that she doesn't need a man to tell her she's beautiful, because she is. I hate crying, guys. Even though I'm a crybaby, I feel like I look ugly when I cry. But like, I want my mom to know that she's beautiful inside and out, and she doesn't need someone to define that, like make her feel that she is that way. She's the best grandma. My kids love her so much. Sometimes they make jokes and say that they love her more than me, and I don't doubt that. Like, my mom knows how to love, and I think my mom was just lost for the longest time. And I know she's trying her best. Like, my mom tells me she loves me, and it's kind of awkward because like I think like because I was like, the way I grew up, I don't like to feel emotions. I don't like, or not emotions. I don't like to feel, what's that word? Like, when people, not vulnerable. Like when people hug me and stuff, I don't like physical touch because I don't think I got that a lot as a teenager or whatever. I just don't like that. And like, even though she tries to hug me and stuff, I'm just like, ugh, don't do it, please. Like, I know my mom is trying. I know she's trying her best. And even though we fight so much, I know it's because we're exactly the same. And like, she inspires me to be like her as a mom. Just not the bad parts, but the good parts. and and I see that every day. I may not be the best daughter, but I'm trying my best because I really want my kids to feel that kind of love, not only from my mom, but from me, my grandma, all the women in my life, because I really want to break that chain of kind of like trauma, childhood trauma. I don't want my kids to go through that ever. And I think that's why like I'm talking about it now, because I really want to go through it and like actually talk about it and say that it hurt, and I'm ready to get past it, and I'm ready to move forward and let that part of my pain go, because I've held on to it too long, and I think it's holding me back from showing people true love. And it's holding me back because I'm scared that I might end up like in that same situation one day, and that my kids are going to experience that, and I don't want my kids to feel like they don't matter. Yeah, I'm trying to break the curse of falling into a drinking problem and all that stuff. Like, I'm literally like, I think God gave me a sign to stop drinking and stop smoking and taking edibles and stuff, because there's a lot of issues with my kidneys and liver now. And I'm not going to be doing that because, like, you don't want to put all this bad stuff in you and then you're going to let out all this negativity. You want to put good things in you. You want to take care of yourself. You want to feel good inside and outside so you could give back good and all this positive energy. So I really need to take care of myself, and I really want to make sure that I'm here for my kids all my life, all the life that's meant for me to live, if you want to say. I don't want to go too much in detail of every little thing, because I could go on and on and on and on about everything my mom did. But that's not, but yeah, but it's not that, like, this podcast is not to bash anybody. It's not to make anyone feel bad about their actions and how they treated me in life and whatever. It's not about that. What this podcast is about healing. Let's feel better. Let's talk about it. How can I make you feel better? How can I make me feel better? It's not about hating on nobody. I just don't like when people make other people feel bad. That's it. I just don't want anyone to feel like they fucked up in life, and there's consequences in how can I say that? I don't want people to feel like they fucked up and ruin people's life purposely and that they're bad people, because you're not a bad person. You're learning. You're learning how to be better. I'm learning how to be better because I'm not perfect. I have my days. I have my days when I could be really bad. But I'm not going to be allowing that to define who I am. I'm going to take that as a lesson and teach people around me that this is how you should correct yourself. Because if you don't correct yourself, what are you going to do? And what's going to happen afterwards? The same thing. You're going to keep falling into the same patterns over and over and over again. I honestly thought about this, but I don't know if the listeners would want to listen to a conversation between me and my mom, because there are questions I have. I don't know if anybody would be interested on listening to, like, having my mom come in and we just talk. Because, like, me and my mom could have, like, civil conversations, but we could argue too. But I think that would be a good idea if I just bring my mom in and we could just talk about it. I don't know. This one's a really difficult one. And this is just about my mom. The next one is on my dad. 100%. And my dad, let's just say I don't talk to my dad anymore. So, yeah. I think that's it for me. And just want to say, if you listened to the whole thing and you laughed a little bit and you cried or you felt anyways, I'm doing my thing. But the moral of this story is, like, forgiveness is very important. And in order to move forward, you need to forgive the people who've hurt you. Even if you don't want to talk to them anymore, and even if you don't say it directly, forgiveness is what helps you move forward. And accepting that you can't go back in life and change what happened, but you can move forward on how you deal with these traumas and how you deal with everything. And if anyone out there is having any problems with their moms and stuff, and their moms don't want to listen and whatever it is, sometimes you just got to tell them you love them and forgive them and really understand where they're coming from, because sometimes being a mom is not the easiest thing ever. We have to put our emotions aside because we have to care for what our kids need and want. And sometimes we don't do it properly, but we're learning. So, I don't know. I guess be kind to everybody and love. And don't be afraid to share your stories. And my DMs are always open to chat. So check me out, Jessie the Podcaster. Lame name, but it's fun. Anyways, later, home skillets. I'll talk to y'all later.